Gulmira Rzayeva, founder and managing director at Eurasia Analytics. But Gulmira, in her previous role for 10 years, was a senior advisor at the Azerbaijan Center for Strategic Studies, a think tank in support of the president of the Republic of Azerbaijan, and has a particular expertise on energy security around the Black Sea and Caspian. And it's that where I want to start with you, Gulmira, this morning, to talk, just to get a sense of your view about, I mean, we talk about the risk to Russian crude oil making its way to the international markets, which it doesn't as of yet seem to be that disrupted. I'd like your views on the potential disruption of that, but also the wider disruption from Central Asian states, potentially Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and so on. Your thoughts as to the dynamics of the Black Sea and the disruption of Russian and Central Asian oil.
Yeah, good morning, Sean. Well, there is no disruption from the in supplies from Central Asia countries, and specifically from Azerbaijan. Oil exports is, continuing, ongoing as it has been all this time. So you know that Azerbaijan started exporting oil since 2006 to the world market, and there hardly has been any disruption since then. So it's quite a reliable gas exporter to world energy markets. But with Central Asian exports, I think there could be some disruptions because mainly Kazakhstani oil has been exported via Russia, a lion's share of Kazakhstani oil. Has been exported via the Russian ports such as Novorossiysk, Ust-Luga, and other ports. So, and at the moment, Kazakhstan is in discussion with Azerbaijan to start transporting its oil via Azerbaijan, via the already existing Baku-Tbilisi Ceyhan gas oil pipeline. So I think Azerbaijan is becoming kind of a very important transit country for those Central Asian countries, those transporting their crude, and not only crude but also oil products to the world oil markets, via Georgia and Turkey. But apart from that, I think at the moment it's also very important to mention some gas exports from Central Asian countries, especially Azerbaijan, because now this European Union's Energy Commissioner keep consulting with Azerbaijani decision makers, president keep visiting Azerbaijan, and some presidents of the European countries are visiting Azerbaijan, asking more gas to be provided to Southeast European countries. Azerbaijan is already exporting gas to Italy, Greece, and Bulgaria, but the volumes are around, in total, 10 BCM, which the European countries would want to increase in order to get themselves wean from Russian gas supplies off. But I think so there is a wrong perception in what is related to the gas reserves of Azerbaijan. Well, Azerbaijan has an enormous gas reserves, but at the moment the country doesn't have extra volumes of gas to export to those countries, to Europe. And what Azerbaijan wants from the European Union is some security of demand, because the country's position is that we can't act, or we can't go and invest multi-billion dollars investment in upstream projects just because of the current crisis.
Yeah. Gulmira, I wanted to get your views on what looks like the next stage of this war in Ukraine, that Russia seems to be positioning itself to take over all of Ukraine's Black Sea coastline and consolidate its position on the east and south of Ukraine. How does that impact the geopolitics of the Black Sea, Turkey, Russia, if indeed Russia succeeds in what appears to be its goal of securing the Black Sea coast of Ukraine?
Well, that certainly would involve, I think, Turkey, because Turkey is a neighbor of both Black Sea coast countries, Ukraine and Russia, and actually Turkey plays an important role in that Black Sea region. So I think that's why, that's one of the reasons why Turkey, well, probably implicitly is also involved in the war by helping Ukraine militarily with some military technologies, because it's not definitely not within Turkey's interest to for Russia to win and take control over the Ukrainian major ports, especially Odessa, from where major which is quite an important port for oil and oil products trading. Well, Azerbaijan as well, Azerbaijani state oil company SOCAR is trading its oil and oil products via Odessa port as well. So Azerbaijan has its great energy interest in Ukraine. We have around more than 100 petrol stations there and some major energy assets in Ukraine. But I think, well, it seems that the conflict will be protracted, and I don't think that this is going to happen anytime soon. That Russia will take control over the south of Ukraine, and there are many major, countries like players in the region that are not interested in this development, and I think this is something that we won't see anytime soon.
Well, what would you expect when you say others are not interested? I mean, clearly that's the case, but the question is ultimately, what can anybody do about it? What is anybody willing to do about it? We've just seen Mariupol being blasted into the 18th century. Nobody's doing anything to stop this war machine. Yes, there was a repulsion from Kiev, but ultimately Russia didn't unleash its cannons and its missiles on Kiev. There does seem to be a determined intention. What do you think would stop Russia from achieving what appears to be a progressive determination in the south of Ukraine?
Well, the determination of the Ukrainians and their fight against the Russians. If Russia could take, Mariupol or the south part of Ukraine, it would do by now. So I think it turned out that it's 40 or 50 days of the war, and this still hasn't happened. So I think it turned out that it's not that easy to take control over those major cities in Ukraine, and there are some countries helping Ukraine, although not that openly. As I said, I mentioned Turkey is quite active in that, because it's not in Turkey's interest to see Russia controlling those major parts of Black Sea on the north part of it. So again, I'm confident that it won't be that easy for Russia to take over.
I wanted to get your thoughts on the structural change, the move to energy security as an ultimate priority for Europe, and the opportunity that presents perhaps for Turkey. We saw the US Deputy Secretary of State in the Near East Med this week, basically sort of realigning the chips there a bit, bringing Turkey very much into the discussion of the pathway of Eastern Mediterranean gas into Europe. I'd like your thoughts on that, and also how quickly, how much can Europe restructure its energy security in the midterm? Sorry, you're on mute. You're on mute. Go back. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So it's definitely won't be that fast as Europe would want to, because we are talking about around, if we're talking about gas, then it's more than 100 BCM of gas, which won't be easy to replace anytime soon. And I think we can see Europe winning itself off from Russian gas by 2030, but a lot of things needs to be done. If you look at the alternatives, well, I talked about Azerbaijan. We do have enormous potential, but we need the long-term contracts to secure, investments and production. I think this is the position of other countries as well. So speaking about Middle East, well, it's first of all Israel that can provide some gas to Europe, and it seems that LNG and the route via Turkey would be the most commercially viable one. LNG is good, but the price for LNG is increasing enormously, and it's for instance, for Europe and Turkey, depending on the price formation, it's above $1,000, which is like almost 10 times more than we saw the LNG prices in 2020. Pipeline via Turkey to Europe is another option that currently Turkey, Israel, and Europe are considering. At the moment, it seems commercially viable given very high gas prices in European major hubs. But what's going to be with the prices in next few years? So that's a good question,
Well, there becomes the issue, doesn't it? Energy security versus energy economics. I wanted just to get your final point, Gulmira, on how big a role can the United States play in compelling these new flows of energy, like we saw the Undersecretary of State in Cyprus, in Turkey this week, sort of imposing, or at least putting forward robustly, the US position. Do you think they have the diplomatic muscle in that region to compel new flow direction?
Well, I think we need the diplomatic muscles. The US once showed these muscles in my region, in Azerbaijan, and we managed to put in place multi-billion two projects, oil and gas projects, the Southern Gas Corridor and Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline. So that was thanks to the US enormous political backup and support, and backup, from Russia, because obviously Russia was opposing those projects, and we managed to realize those politically complicated projects, commercially very expensive projects, and we need the same, muscles and same political backup now with those new projects as well. Another problem, I think this is a major obstacle, is given this energy transitions. It's a kind of a hysteria, I would call. The EU's position is that I want more gas coming from alternative sources, but I don't want to finance, fossil fuel projects. I want gas, coming as soon as possible, but I want clean gas. I want, as clean as possible. So a lot of conditions, a lot of terms, and I don't think that this is gonna help with diversification of supply sources.